Welcome to the Gorillaz tribe of Amazon sellers. Welcome to our 5-part training series about how to best communicate with your Chinese suppliers. In this series, we will cover what platform to use, what to negotiate, how to build a relationship, how to select a new supplier, and we wrap up with a pro checklist for selecting a supplier. In this third episode, Paul and Rob will be covering building a relationship with your supplier, which includes the concept of face and guangxi. Let's get started now.
So, how to avoid the bank account scam. This is another typical and very common scam that's going around, as certainly has been for the last few years. This scam normally comes in two forms. Okay, a crime organization hacks its way into the supplier's email system and sends invoices to customers. Tracking the people behind these bank accounts is usually impossible. Very, very difficult to do this, but please be aware of it. As salesperson, this is the second one. The salesperson uses their, I'll just put her here because it's a personal one, puts her personal email account for work. This is a common thing in China. Okay, Doris at benderplastics.com or Doris at, it won't be Gmail over there, but it'll be CC692 or whatever. They then quit their job, but they don't tell us as customers. Okay, so in the meantime, we're still communicating with the same email. And when we say we want to place another order, she says, okay, great, excellent. You ask for the payment details to come through, or please send us the invoice. And the invoice comes through for another bank account. Normally, their personal bank account. Now, I've seen this one personally. To me, this happened to me. Right? I've been quite smart about it. I've been switched on, and I phoned the company, and they said, "Oh no, she doesn't work here anymore." Consequently, I was in the safe. I knew how to get around it. I know what I was looking for, and I didn't fall for it. There is no silver bullet to avoid the scams. What we've got to be doing is just switched on and be aware. And there's a combination of appropriate tactics that makes it very unlikely to work. Okay, so we've got to be on top of the ball here, guys, all the time when dealing with some of these Chinese suppliers. So here's how to avoid the bank account scam. Get to know several English-speaking people at your supplier. Get their company landline phone number. Even Skype accounts can be hacked. Okay. If something suspicious comes up, you can give a few phone calls to the different people that you know and ask what is going on. Okay, so you've got several people's version of what's happening. This will not only be helpful for payments, but also for other claims. In other words, if the factory got flooded or something else happened, you understand what is going on. Okay, and I've seen all of these. I've seen all of these scenarios in my time. Number two, each supplier for their bank account information in advance. Sorry, ask each supplier for the information in advance, because your supplier qualification process probably includes asking for a copy of their business license. At the same time, ask for their bank account information. Then instruct them to mention see bank account information document on invoices rather than using their standard template that includes the full bank details. In other words, get that information separately all the time. Okay, that's one point. Number three, ask suppliers to fax every invoice to you. Now, personally, I don't have a fax machine. I don't know too many people that have. So this is really organized. If you do have that facility, then do it. So this step here is like, if it applies. Okay, so because if the email system can be hacked, ask for that extra level of safety. Have invoices faxed to you and check whether they're sending fax belongs to the supplier's company. Okay, I can't do that. I haven't got a fax company. I don't know anybody that's got a fax. Okay, but I dare say a few people have. Number four, do a small wire to pay a sample fee. What do we mean by that? You'll probably need the supplier to prepare a sample. We talked about that earlier before you confirm the order. Why not offer to pay for that sample? You will have a confirmation that you've got the right bank account then, because they'll be received the money. Okay. If you're sending it into some various of another place, because what you're trying to do here is just cross-reference everything, tie everything together, make sure we've got continuity, consistency. Okay. You can always negotiate a refund of your samples once you place the order later on. And a lot of people do. A lot of suppliers will actually say that, okay, if you pay for the sample now, then we'll take that off of the order, because they don't want to be out of pocket by sending all of these samples out to everybody. But if you're serious about the product and place an order, they don't mind actually refunding that on your first order. Number 5, have a special procedure for confirming the company name. In other words, if you've been discussing business with a salesperson, use a certain company name. You might receive a pro forma invoice in the name of another company. In that case, you need to ask for written explanation. In other words, if I'm talking to a particular supplier and they tell me they are benderplastics.com, and then they send the invoice through for some other random name that I've never heard of, why would I send money to that company when I don't know them? Because I've been talking to Bender Plastics all day. Okay. Get that written explanation, and you need their company chop. Okay. Now I've got an image of a company chop later on. So a signature is one thing, but over in China, it's all about the company chop. Okay. Which is a little round symbol printed in red. Get them to send that to you, email and _fax. Note that the paying China company in mainland is much safer as opposed to anywhere else. In other words, in some cases, I have had this where I'm dealing with a company in China. I get the information through on the invoice and it's bank account in Hong Kong. So again, ask why, what's the relevancy? China's a lot better. Number 6, have a special procedure for confirming bank account changes. This is very suspicious. Okay, if your supplier says that, follow the same procedure as point 5. But also call several people within the company, okay, and ask for that relevant information. It's important information. They will understand your attitude if you tell them you're worried about the different bank account scams that are going around at the moment. Because at the end of the day, they are victims as well. If they are being hacked into, or if one of their ex-employees is trying to take money, okay, they're a victim, we're a victim. So they want to work with you. You know, if they're a serious business, they will be very open with you. There's no problems. Don't worry about it. Lastly, there's a caveat to this at the end, right? If you're considering a relatively large purchase order over $50,000, for example, then it makes perfect sense to pay by letter of credit. Okay, I'm not going to go into what a letter of credit here is at the moment, but that's the best way forward. I've never heard of a scam on a supplier who's paying by a letter of credit. The extra benefits here, you don't need to advance any money to the supplier before production or the production starts. Now, here's the caveat. This is clearly not aimed at the start of business. But as you grow your business, when you grow your business to a certain size, you will be ordering more products, more stock, more inventory. And you could get to the size where you're ordering $50,000 worth at a time, $100,000 worth at a time. At that stage, you really need to be looking at letters of credit. Okay, and that's where you start to need to investigate that and go and talk to your bank. Your bank will show you all the information you need. So this is a personal email to me with one of my suppliers that I'm working to at the moment. Hello, Paul. Please see our answers below. Also, here attached is the invoice for the modifications, blah, 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 blah. Best regards, Christy, sales manager, contact information. And this is on the standard email signature. We want to point out that Socitar, that's the name of the supplier, does not inform about changes to banking accounts by email. In other words, if you receive such an email, please ignore it and inform us immediately. So if I got an email from societarmold.com, as you can see at the top here, stating And dear Paul, we have changed our bank account for your next order. Please wire the money to blah, blah, blah. Okay, that is their email system being hacked into by a scammer and trying to get money out. Okay, so this is on an email. I can't remember when that, just a couple of days ago, I got that. Chinese scammers love Western Union. If there's one big giveaway that you're communicating with Chinese scammers and not with a real supplier, it's the request for payment via Western Union. Now, Rob and I love this one. You know, there are many options for paying suppliers in China apart from Western Union. Many other ways. Okay, and even Western Union are saying, don't do this. Okay, Western Union is in favor of Chinese scammers, is a favorite, of Chinese scammers because it's the easiest way for them to require victims' money and get away with it. It's like going down to the supermarket and say, oh, by the way, I've left your $5,000 on the bench outside. Come and get it when you're ready. You just wouldn't do that. You just would not do that. Okay. And even Western Union are saying, don't use it. And I've got a link here so you can click on that to read it. And it's their recommendations. Okay. Just don't use Western Union. Money transfer never evers. Okay. This is a list from Western Union. Lower your chances of falling victim to fraud by checking out these 8 things that you should never do when using money transfer service. Okay, this is from the Western Union website. Never send money to people you haven't met in person. Well, you know, it's like sometimes a little bit difficult if we're dealing with suppliers in China, because we're not going to meet them in person, I would say 99% of the time. Never send money to pay for taxes or fees or lottery prizes, a fairly obvious one. And some of these down here I'm not going to go through, but I just want to draw your attention to the bottom one here. Never send a money transfer to an individual or online purchases. It's the individual section that I want to draw your attention to, because that could be, that could be the employer who has left that particular supplier you've been dealing with. And he said, yeah, no worries. I'll look after it for you. No worries. Just send your $2,000 to me. Western Union's fine. Well, no, it's not.